Now you can sit down. Make yourself comfortable. Because what I'm going to say to you will make it uncomfortable.
Tyrant find
Now you can sit down. Make yourself comfortable. Because what I'm going to say to you will make it uncomfortable.
Tyrant Finder UK.
I'm here to document what the mainstream media doesn't want to bring you, but they don't actually bring you any sort of news.
And I gotta tell you folks, I don't believe what I'm seeing.
Take it easy, friend.
Tyrant Finder UK.
It's the President of the United States.
Tyrant Finder UK.
The price of victory.
On the graves, in the cracks of 1,000 leaves, somewhere in between our past and our future, rolling over all the dividing things. Are you still listening? Want to be heard by you? Slow fall into the Indian Sea.
Now you can sit down. Make yourself comfortable. Because what I'm going to say to you will make it uncomfortable.
Tyrant Finder UK.
I'm here to document what the mainstream media doesn't want to bring you, but they don't actually bring you any sort of news.
And I gotta tell you folks, I don't believe what I'm seeing.
Take it easy, friend.
Tyrant Finder UK.
It's the President of the United States.
Tyrant Finder UK.
The price of victory is sacrifice.
If a man has something to say.
We got Tyrant Finder UK.
The government fully aware of the situation.
It is a strange place.
If we can get this long-range transmission beam to work.
Now we return to the regular news items prepared for this broadcast.
Good evening, everybody. Hello. How are you? I hope you're all well. Can you all hear me? Give me a good 5x5 in the chat. Can you all see me? Good evening. Or good night, I should say, because, yeah, good evening. How are you? Hello, Vanished. Hello, everybody else. Just let the chat catch up a minute. Hello, Sean. How is everybody? I'm going to have to go up and kill me kids in a minute. Not literally, but they're like stampeding above me. So we'll have to go and sort them out in a minute. Excuse me, got a little bit of a sore throat. I had to come on. I've got to talk about today's protest and exactly what the title says. What were the aims of today's protest? Because I see them now. They're in a pub singing, cheering, dancing. Yeah, fair play to him. He's a pretty good singer, to be quite honest. But what's it all about? What is it all about? Oh, what's that?
Mouldy watermelon has just been thrown across the room.
Ah, mouldy watermelon. It's just been. Well, how's it mouldy?
It's clearly out of date.
Clearly,
So
it
they've
was.
opened it and squeezed it, and it stinks up there.
It somewhere. Yeah, typical kids. Anyway. Anyway. The protest today is obviously. I know it was there for the vaccine injured. We know that. You know, people that took the vaccine, they are coming out now. The side effects from the jab, and we knew that. But when we were protesting at the start about the rollout of the jab and all the people that took it, we were calling them super spreaders. They're super spreaders. They're this, that, and the other. And now we're highlighting them in the protest. This woe is me when we've got a lot of other things that are going on in this country and on this planet, then you know, they even spoke about today, nothing, one little narrative today. So, you know. Yeah, I was watching. I was watching all of them. I was in here, and we were watching Island as well. So, yeah, it was all about Angela. You're 100% right. It was all about the organisers, the way I seen it. Give me 1 minute. It is. As soon as I do anything remotely, I can sit down, do nothing all day long, and the kids don't play up. But the moment I start something, they play up. Let's have a look. So, yeah, so we were calling them all obviously super spreaders. You know, you've seen the tears every 2 minutes. Now, that was fake. Sorry, the tears were fake in my eyes. Real fake. And they're preaching to the converted at the end of the day, aren't they? They really are preaching to the converted. They are. What was it? And they're in the pub now. Go on to actual coverage, and they're in the pub singing, dancing, cheering. That's just freedom, isn't it? Yeah. We got all the World Economic Forum leaders meeting in Davos at the moment, and they didn't speak about that. We've also got, all the migrants that are flooding into the country. Piers didn't want to know about that today when Jim spoke about it. But he didn't want to know about. Oh, we do speak about it. He says, "No, you don't. You haven't touched on it once. Not once." Madness. Hello, Stevie G. Long time no see, mate. Madness. Not talking about it, are they? They're not talking about the migrants. They're not talking about the illegal invasion. Why? Because they don't want to be tarred with the racist brush. They don't want to touch on that subject. What is it all about? Is it not? Is it not going to be lucrative enough for them? Come off it. Right? The guy that smashed off Eric Gill's statue's cock on the BBC was, you know what I mean? He was nearly stopped from even climbing the ladder. So this is how quick they were. Yet they allowed to put a big American rig on there, camera truck. So basically, that truck that they had was obviously a purpose. It was an all-in-one truck. So it was a video screen. It had what they call a switch room. So a gallery. So it had a gallery in there. So a control room. It also had a stage, purpose-built stage. Fuck knows how much that cost to put on today. Because that wouldn't have come cheap. Right? Then all the permission. So that was a organized event. So there must have been risk assessed. There must have been St. John's ambulance or some sort of medical assistance on standby, because it had to go through the city of London, didn't it? Well, it had to go through London. Well, not the city, because BBC's not in it. Is it in the city square mile? I don't think it is. Anyway, it has to get permission anyway. So make us out as you will. I'm a bit. I don't know. Did it highlight anything? Well, it didn't highlight anything to us or people that were there, because we already knew it all. We already know all this. So they're preaching to the converted, aren't they? Really? And nobody, they're obviously following in my Telegram chat, because I think there was some conversations that were going on regarding we were taking the mickey out of the injured and they struggled to get on the stage and things like that. No, we weren't taking the mickey out of them and things like that. We were thinking, well, what is it all about? We told them back when we were protesting 2 years ago not to take it, and now we're standing them up and putting them on pedestals. Go and look. We were right. See, this is what it is, isn't it? Cause and effect. Cause and effect. Oh, thanks for that. I don't know whether to take that as a compliment or an insult. I've definitely got a voice for radio. Is that because my face isn't for TV? But I get your sentiment. I 100% agree with you. All right. When the dentist gets his finger out of his ass and sends me my appointment, I can then start my dental treatment. But I know you're not taking a piss anyway. I know it is, mate. I know, you know what I mean. I know you. Now I finally got the system sorted out. I just don't get it. I don't get it, right? They could have pulled that truck up there today, right? Because you can tell Westminster whatever you like to get permission. You can say that you're going to play whatever. Could have pulled that truck up there today, and you could have put about all these fucking migrants that are coming in and being housed. I'll bring the pictures up in a bit. Absolutely shocking. Madness. I think I might have even fucking deleted it now. Yeah. Don't keep anything on that. Yeah, but we got a local school now. It was a closed school, St. Christopher's. We're making them a purpose-built community of refugees. You and I would call it a ghetto. Going to become a no-go zone. Well, we'll never know, will we? No one's flower. We won't. Certainly got questions to answer, aren't she? Definitely, 100%. Whether or not she's paid agent, who am I to say that? I don't know. I'm. Who knows? But Jim went there today. Jim confronted Mark Sexton, and Jim. Hang on a minute. I'll show it. Got to find it now. It's the only problem. I can't find the fucking. Anyway, I'll find it in a minute. But Jim was attacked. Yep. Just for like asking a question, which I thought was quite bizarre, to be quite honest. It was. Here we go. I know where it is. Right, I've got to find that file path now. Hang on. Videos. I'm just trying to get something. So we need to find. Yeah, anyway, I can't find it, and it just take me too long. A dead air. Take me too long with dead air. Oh, someone's saying, I don't know. Bit weird. Weird. Right. What's people saying in the chat? Good on the new. Use for idiots, maybe. Probably about it. Use for idiots. You can't have dead air on radio. No, you can't. But that's obviously I haven't had anything queued up, have I? And we're not really radio. But yeah, you can't have dead air. So good evening, everyone. Good evening, Wild Woodlands Southwest. How are you? So like I said, a new hotel, well, a new migrant village, whatever you want to call it, being open in Bristol soon. It was earmarked the 4 or 5 acre site on Durham Downs. Well, just off of Durham Downs, if you actually look at it, very affluent, very expensive area of Bristol to live. There's now going to be a 4 or 5 acre site of a community of refugees, and the refugees are going to be made up of Afghanistan, Sudanese, Russian, Ukraine. Have a look on have a look. It's mental. I think it's absolutely madness. Bath. I don't know in the Bath, but I know Bristol's got loads now. North Somerset's got loads. The whole of the southwest of England is just like nobody cares, is it? It's just Leftyville, the whole south. And I'm stuck all on my own, innit? Doing it. It's like I want to highlight this thing in Redland. Surely it's going to depreciate the house values. Surely. I don't know. But there's 172 of you, well, 169. Make sure you've hit the like button because there's only 92 at the moment. What does everyone make of it? You know, we've got so many things going on in the world, yet people are only interested in certain narratives, certain things, and they will only talk about certain things. They'd rather be more worried about people that don't live in this country or from, other countries and highlight the problems that are really going on here. I know, Doness, a lot of people can't really truly comment on what they feel. Mad. I can't see, they're now going from city to city on this fucking old protest thing. Oh God, you're following an ex-copper. An ex-copper. Come on. Are we not waking up yet? Because we need to give it some of this. You're following an ex-copper. Wow. Are we not? we see, it's not very often that I'm actually lost for words at all. But now I just don't know what to say no more to any of this sheer madness that is going on. Yeah. We chatted about Mark a long time ago. You know what I mean? Out of all the live streamers, okay, I was the first one to call it all out of all the protesters. You know what I mean? Me. And that was then, it was the day I started to go downhill, where I didn't get any viewers. You know, people don't come on no more because I'm not bigging the narrative up, you know, and the likes of Fiona and people like I don't want to speak to Tyrant. They never really wanted to speak to Tyrant anyway. You know, I called Louise Creffield out, disappeared now, hasn't she? She's all gone off now with her thousands of pounds that she's set up her companies with. She's happy. You set her life up. Thanks very much. Well done, you. You've all set her life up for the future. Well done. You gave her out. You gave her out. We're still, you know, we're all still fighting for our outs, aren't we? To get out of the system. You gave her hers. Now you're giving Fiona's and everyone else's, aren't you? You're giving them their outs. Yeah. Oh, yeah, well, just carry on. It's fine. You know, because this whole YouTube thing now. I've turned the whole thing now. YouTube is just for fun for me now. It's for fun because I'm finding my out. Because if no one's prepared to listen to me anymore, you know, because no one's listened to me. I've got 170 odd of you here now, and I'm preaching to the converted. I'm preaching to the people that, you know. But they're not telling you. They're telling you, all these people, woe is me, this has happened, this has happened. Well, we know it's happened. Tell us, how do we get out of it? Well, they can't. Because the moment they tell you how to get out of it, well, that's the end of their grift, isn't it? That's the end of their money, isn't it? How did they get their money then? Is it? We've, you know, simple, isn't it? Sexton wrote a book, Elimination, based on facts and based on non-fiction and fiction. Is anyone in the movement took the time to read that book? Huh? In fact, hang on one moment. Just bear with me. So, you know, hang on. I am not going to keep beating my head against a brick wall for people anymore because, you know, listen, just people pin your ears back, share this around. It's out there. Oh, you hear that? What did he just say there? What was that? Should we just run that back as a police officer? So let me just run that back just a smidgen. He's all right. He's a good bloke, though, isn't he? He's a fantastic bloke, him. He is. Nothing wrong with old fucking Seki Sexton, is there? Huh? Sorry, guys. Could you not hear it then? So, coupled with his own experience, so coupled with his police experience, he wrote a book how easy it would be for the police to eliminate people like myself and the majority of the people that were going to protest. Well, I don't know why it's that you. I got perfect sound. I have. Yeah. Not a page. I'm playing out of a local video. I'm playing local video out. don't know what people were saying. What was that? I don't know what people were saying. Oh, they couldn't hear it, you know, this, that, and the other. But why is that? Shite. Is that coming out twice? Some people were saying they couldn't hear it. Some people were saying they were hearing it fine. Some people were saying they were just hearing music. I really don't know what to. Shite. I really don't know what to say to you people because I don't know who to listen to. Because some people were saying it was no. Sound fine here. People were saying sound fine here. But I mean the sound from what I just played out, was that coming through all right or not? Let's go for it again. I don't. Can you hear that now? You hear Mark? Thank you. Thank you, Phil. Anyway, let's get that out. We've all watched that. So it's like I said, there's a book. He wrote a book, how to eliminate people like us. You know, says it all really, in my eyes. Absolutely says it all. Yeah, I don't know what people so that's Mark. Then we move on to Miss Shiramani now. All right, because like she's gonna pop her fucking head back up soon. You know, guarantee it. You know, I sent her a message because I wanted to know, you know, what was her stance on, you know, the P word, and the sympathizers towards people that have questionably involved in possible child trafficking, because, you know, you got to remember, Ghislaine Maxwell had got 20 years for trafficking children to nobody, yet we've got a guy that freely admitted, right, online, many years ago, that back in the 80s, he took children to Top of the Pops. And then we got the likes of Kate Shiramani now sitting on panels with him. And when I questioned her as to why are you sitting on a panel with somebody who said they took children to them and then backtracked and very cagey about how he says it now. And you sit there, and all she said, well, I'm lucky is because he's got such a big platform. And then I thought to myself, well, is that how Jimmy Savile got away with it for so long? Because he had such a big platform. And that's what I got to thinking then about all these people that just getting behind, isn't it? Madness. Then you've got these people like tell the new one, isn't it? It was Together program, Together, and then it went. They certainly jumped on the 15-minute cities now, haven't they? The Truth Be Told, or something like that, which is still the Together movement, but under a different banner. Yeah. They certainly jumped on the old 15-minute city thing and everything, Madness, isn't it? And the first thing he wanted you to do, right, was just quite, we're on about the old digital and, ID and tracing and things like that. Yeah. The first thing they wanted is when you turned up to this protest or this 15-minute city one in Oxford, they wanted your name and address so they can... No, they wanted you to go on the website and fill in the details, put your details in there so they can gauge how many people's interested. And I'm thinking, hang on a minute. What we're trying to not do is like give our information away. Or I know our information is out there now, but aren't we trying to not give away any more than what we are? Madness. Well, thank you very much, Paul, for that £10 donation. That's generous. Very generous of you. But it's all right. They got our best interests at heart, people. It's all right. We got Sexton. We got Fiona. We got all these doctors that didn't speak out, but they now finally spoke out now. Why? Why? Because the narrative needs changing, doesn't it? The narrative needs to change. Call it as it is, isn't it? Looks like a duck. Quacks like a duck. It's a duck. Yeah. Who am I? I'm just some guy in it. Is actually sorting it all out. Well, sorting my life out, isn't it? You know what I mean? I'm preparing. I know what's coming. We all know what's coming. I just hope you're all preparing like I am. Yeah. I'm planning to... we got all these people talk about the Matrix, isn't it? We got to look at who are the Matrix, isn't it? What is the Matrix, really? Because, it's not the thing that we all seen on Neo when it we're all plugged into the Matrix, we're all batteries. Who says it was a Matrix is like that? I look at the Matrix as the system, the government. That's the Matrix. Right? So the only way you're going to get away from it is to unplug. Stop sucking on the government teat. Get out of the government. Ignore the government. I always said it all along, innit? The only way you're going to beat the system is ignore it. Because, do you know what? It generally, when somebody's annoying you, if you ignore them, they generally go away, don't they? But the more and more you respond to them, the more and more you play up to them, the more they come at you. So there's something really to learn by that, isn't there? So yeah, just get away from it. Try and get away from it. If I'm trying to get off of it. It's the only way we're going to better this country now. So come on. Anyone know today what today actually achieved? Tell us. Did anyone in the chat attend today's protest? I just put a chat on there so it'll come in. Well, it achieved Florist a bit of money in it in White Roses. So, there's one thing. Money for the pubs. Yeah, coffers for London businesses, isn't it? I just don't know what to say or do for people anymore. It's just madness. Pure, utter madness. how many of those tears were real, Anoniku? Because I didn't think any of them on the stage were real. Maybe in the crowd from the people, yes. But from the crowd, no. I just, if people want to, I just don't know anymore. Anyway, bigger fish to fry, haven't we? We got a lot more. It wouldn't be so bad if they would have just spoke about what were really going on as well in this country. Yeah, that would really help. People only go to these protests to get their selfies for their Instas, and go home and say they've been to a protest in London for freedom. Whether or not it's gonna it achieved anything is neither here or there, is it? It's didn't do nothing in my eyes. Yeah. Well, if the protest, if they enjoyed themselves today and they think they achieved something, then all good on them. But we're lost. We are really lost. If they think that's what freedom is all about, is going up to London, standing outside the BBC, shaking a few banners, making a little bit of noise, and then going to the pub and think you're going to save the world like that, you deserve everything we get. Andrew Bridgen didn't want to speak really to Jim. Piers was like stuttering when Jim was confronting him about why they only speaking about certain things. Piers didn't know what to say. So, what? I just don't know. I don't understand it no more. Really, I don't. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Yeah, you're right. It's to make himself feel better, isn't it? It's the pressure release valve. It's the appeasement factor, isn't it? And it's the feel good factor. A lot of people there that they got injured, yes, because they took something. Because unfortunately, they didn't listen to people that, had their best interest at heart. And I said all along, it was never about the virus or anything like that. People were going to take it regardless, because that's what freedom is, isn't it? But they sold us on a lie. So can you feel sorry for people that took it? Yes and no. Yes and no. Because I certainly don't take anything without reading what's in it first. It's like you wouldn't eat a Mars bar or any sort of food without knowing what's in it. So it's your own fault, partly. I know they had people like Fiona and all the others that people stand up in front of saying, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And now we're raising money for them. Madness. No, you wouldn't. We said, right, you got all these people, you got that Cheska and all those saying if it wasn't for them, they got the vaccine rollout stopped for all the nurses, and no, you didn't. No, you didn't. Your protest didn't help that at all. Because they couldn't mandate it. They couldn't force anybody into it. And it was all down how long was the person prepared to wait? How far was that person prepared to be pushed before they cave in and take it? And I said all along, it's a waiting game. It's a waiting game. You may lose your job. You may not. Some will, some didn't. But they haven't mandated it, have they? So it wasn't down to all these protests or anything like that. Not in my eyes, anyway. So, yeah, good on all these people. Any protest that you were allowed to go on and you freely followed the police and people like that, then that was a controlled march. We said this all along, wasn't it? Thank you, Bob. Much appreciated. Yeah. Exactly. Narrative's changing now, isn't it? They had to. So it's going to roll on to the vaccine injured. So that's got to play out for a little bit because they got to show it that they're appeasing the people and people are going to be paid out, aren't they? And everything. So that's going to play out. That's the, it's a done deal. That's why like I said, all these politicians are now changing. The doctors are turn their opinions around. It's because whatever they did with whatever they put into people, I can't say it. I'm not and I don't know. Whatever they did to get whatever they wanted into people is done. It's done. They've done it, haven't they? Because how many million people got it in the UK? How many people around the world? Billions, millions. So whatever they set out to do with it, they've done it. So of course that people can turn around now. People that are coming to the end of their political careers, people that are coming to their end of their musical careers, people that are coming to the end of their pundit careers, all those sort of people can come out now, can't they? They can all, turn around and get on that shilling race. Yeah. Yeah, you're 100% correct there, Anonicu. Yeah, it brought like-minded people. But what it also done, it released pressure, didn't it? The pressure that you should have been building up to one day that pressure cooker goes, boom. And we all fight for our freedoms like our forefathers did, didn't we? That might happen then. Because Yes, and I always said that. It brought people together. And I agree with you on that. But did it actually change any course of action that the government was ever going to take? 100% no, it hasn't. You know, I thought it did. Back in, well, right at the beginning, right back in 2020, in Trafalgar Square, when it went off, and we had that blue tent, and that blue tent was written, and it went off, and I thought, hang on a minute, we're actually fighting for freedom here. And then the dynamics of the protest changed. And it was weird. It was like they went to damn scripts. They more went to love and light and we love you, you know, and then everyone tried to protect the police. And, you know, you had people standing in, no, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. Well, no, we're fighting for our freedom. Wasn't it? I think we were all being sold down the river. To be really quite frank and honest, I don't care anymore. Don't worry, we'll all be eating bugs soon, isn't it? Don't worry. It's all good. All good. One of these days is I'm gonna have that. I told you so. I told you so. Oh dear, dear. Oh. Yeah, but we have to see. It's. I think it was like down to people like they're too afraid to question anybody because they don't want to fall out. You know, and everyone said lots of people are saying it, right? And infighting. Well, you got to be in summer to fight for it. This isn't no movement. There's no real movement. Come on. There's no movement at all. I don't know if it was the BBC put on, but that camera rig, that truck, massive, loads of money. Was that a state funded? Because right, you go on to Fiona because allegedly the only person that's controlling or raising funds for all of this is Fiona Hind, Fiona Rose Diamond, or Fiona whatever your fucking name is, right? She, you know, she's controlling the money, or it's all in her name because she's had so many shut down and things like that. And, you know, she's paying for it. And by the resume of like the begging letter, well, no, I can't call it a begging letter, can I? I got to be more diplomatic than that. The little description of what she put in to raise the funds of what the money was going to go towards were for like what she put on today. The injured got to come down and stay in a hotel tonight. They obviously all expenses paid. So all you know what I mean? It's like, come on, people, come on. Tick tock, tick tock. Thousands of pounds, thousands. We'll keep doing it. People don't get. You got to keep saying it. People are not getting notified. For me, ask yourself why. Ask yourself why. Why are you not getting notified? Why aren't you getting any notifications or any, that I'm live or got anything scheduled or, why? Ask yourself. Madness. £100, you're absolutely bang on with that comment there, Paul. 100%. 100%. Hey, long as we just prepare and we all see what's going on, just prepare for yourself, guys and girls. Yeah. When the time comes and the shit hits the fan, I'm sure when all other communications, the people that are prepared, that don't sit here talking about what the problems are, they just get on and do. They don't have to explain what they're doing all the time or justify what they're doing to prepare. As long as they do that and the time comes, because, the first thing I'm going to do is going to take care of my wife, family, and my immediates first. And then once we're all safe and sorted, then I'm going to go find like-minded people like myself. That's my plan. Well, like I say, we got to become self-sufficient. That's all it is now. Be all and end all. I don't know anymore. I keep saying I don't know. It's just, I'm just lost for words. I don't know if I should pop the link to somebody. There we go. They might be in bed. Do 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 do. Sorry, guys. There we go. That's better. Oh, he's got his dinner on the go. I keep forgetting you eat at stupid time o'clock. Bring it down there. There we go. All right, Drew. I got to turn that notification off. Did you all that notification come through then? Because I don't like it on streams when notification. You can hear the bing out on people's notifications. There you go, look again. So what I got to do in here, I just got to go into Drew's and then go to disabled sound. There we go, like that. Now we won't get any of the ringing notifications through the stream. I reckon there was a good few hundred there today, weren't there, at the protest, don't you think? Couple hundred? Couple, three? I don't know. I say there was more in Ireland. You know, protesting the illegal invasion of the country and the occupation of 4- and 5-star hotels whilst homeless people on the streets freeze. Because at the moment now it's -1 here. And it's only just gone 10 o'clock, 10:45, is it? Yeah, just coming up quarter to the hour. So, you know, cold night tonight. Very like quiet, wasn't it? It's like I'm no body language expert, right? And I'm no body language or you know, some sort of behavioral scientist or anything like that. But when her tears came, they came at the wrong moments, i.e. like how if you were spontaneously going to cry, like we all have, we've just seen something and then something's happened and then something's touched our emotion and we've spontaneously started to cry, yeah, for no reason at all. We've all done that. Can we all agree? We all feel how that, you know, that experience happens, yeah. You know, you get that froggy in the throat and you know, you find it hard to breathe and then the tears come. That to me was forced, that it wasn't natural, that it didn't happen in the right sequence, how the body would react to a certain emotion being played out. I don't know. Does anyone agree with me? Put a 1 in the chat. I don't know. You know, it's it was just forced. It was just didn't feel right to me. And Fiona, I'd love you to come on. Come on. Come on. My contact information is out there. It's all out there. My telephone number, everything is out there. Come on, give me a call. Explain. Explain what your views are on the thousands of migrants that are coming in here, the 500,000 students that we signed visas for this year. You know, all the compacts and agreements that we're still tied into the EU on. You know, the World Economic Forum, the meeting in Davos, all this sort of stuff is, you know, let's talk about it. Why are you fixated on one narrative? Come on. But you won't. None of you will. Sexton won't. You won't. You practically shit yourself when you see me run. The last twice I've seen Fiona Rose Diamond. The last time I was at the Bank of England, which was that the last one. You can see the live. When that Chris Sky came over, fucking, a guy from another country that we were listening to that we shouldn't be fucking listening to. So yes, as soon as I set my camera up, Fiona come running over. Oh, Tyrant, I love your work, It's like that was like the first time she met me, but she does it every time she sees me, like blow smoke up my ass, right? And before it was anything, are you live? Are you live? Well, you should know me by now, Fiona. My camera's wherever I am. My camera's on. You know what I mean. All that blowing smoke. Same with Sexton. Sexton in Bristol, when he came to Bristol, he made a beeline for me. Right, seen me there standing filming, then made a beeline for me, then asked me, "Was my camera recording?" Well, of course it is. And then proceeded to blow smoke up my ass. Then, oh, Tyrant, love your work, love what you do, love what you do. Sorry, in my eyes, you're just a bunch of. You are. Bunch of fucking. They're not UN troops. That's what I fucking mean. Are they fighting age males? Yeah, of course they are. Are they UN troops? No, because there's no such thing as UN troops. You have to be in an army or in a regiment to be, you know what I mean? That's a UN soldier. I could have been a UN soldier. Yeah, but no one listens to me anymore, Angela. No one. No one listens to me. I used to command thousands of people, watching me. Now it's because I'm not telling them what they want to hear. I'm telling them facts. I'm telling them what you don't want to hear. I got no solutions for you how to get out of this. I can, you know what I mean? It's two ways. You either put up, shut up, or you fight, innit? You get off the government tit, you take back, but that's going to be built over time. That's not going to happen overnight, is it? Unfortunately, I'd like to wave my magic wand right now and go pip, puff, puff, remove everyone from government. Okay, cancel out all debt. Well, all debt's going to be cancelled out when the economy finally crashes and they bring in the digital currency and digital ID, digital currency. So that's when debt's going to be wiped out. Oh, Bob's dropping more. Bob. Thank you for the £2 super chat. Yeah. How many is there still? I.e., how many people are still out there, still streaming, still actually got some presence online? Not many now, is there? Like I said, this is fun for me now. I know what needs to be done. Indy's probably asleep. I did send him a link. I would publicly put the link, but we get fucking trolls on all the time, innit? You watch this, right? I'll put it on. I'll put the link in. I don't have to let you on anyway, do I? I can view. But we'll see.
Gay! Ha! Gay!
Well, what's that? No, I sent him it, Sean. I sent Indy the link. He hasn't read it, so he's probably asleep. Probably. That was
Ha! Gay!
That's my sound effects. Brent the Gent. Gordon Redding. Gordon. I can see you in the back chat. Can you remove your glasses for me and put them back on? Happy days. I know you're real now, look. Because I would. I can see you in the back chat. Can you remove your mute your
Happy days.
mute
I know you're real. Hi, mate. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, mate. Yeah, all good.
Oh, banging.
Gordon, what brings you here this evening? What do you need to say?
Well, I got to be honest. I was watching old Jim's stream earlier, and all these vaccine injured people that were coming on stage.
Yeah.
You had there was some fat bird with a massive fucking camera strapped to her, and she's going on about she's vaccine injured and she's got narcolepsy. Well,
yeah.
I wouldn't be walking around fucking London with a camera that expensive if I had fucking narcolepsy.
Because you fall asleep in the most obscure places, don't you?
That's what I thought, yeah. You'll have to excuse me, mate.
Hey,
and the other thing is, not one of them, they were all talking. Bit of personal disclosure. I've got terminal lung cancer, so I
hear that, mate.
I get out of breath quite easily. But
yeah,
I thought all these vaccine injuries were based on the lungs, and not one of them were out of breath. They all spoke without having a cough or catch their breath or.
Are you all right?
Do you know what I mean, bud? So it fucking stunk from the head down, mate. From the head to the tail, it stunk like rotten fish, mate, to be honest.
I don't see any way out of it, though, because I know people need to, they get it off their chest, they see all these things, and they think they're doing a good thing by going to London. Yeah, hang on, I think is that you, Anonacute? He's saying camera ain't working. Let me let Anonacute in. I think it's Anonacute. I'm sure it is. He did say something that.
It's me, and it is me.
Hello, mate. How you doing? We got Gordon.
How you doing?
We got
Can you hear
Gordon.
me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you, mate. All good.
Sorry about the camera, but I thought I'd send you a message that only I could have sent.
Yeah, only you would know that because everyone knows I got an England flag, but no, yeah. So it's all good. So, Anonacute, what do you make of it all? I wholeheartedly agree with your comment that you put regarding it brings people, like-minded people together. And that's, I wholeheartedly agree with you. But whether on, other than that, I don't think it's achieving much else, is it?
No, it's not.
That might be a bit of a delay on Anonacute.
Acting as an escape valve of any tension, rather than as building anything actually that can do anything.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. You know, and it's like Gordon said. He said it was Gordon's the other chap on. He said it was like a shower of shit. You know, it doesn't give you any hope really for the future. You know.
Oh shit, mate! Oh, even though I've got terminal cancer, I've got months to live. I'm
Mate.
just about to fuck off in the start of February for a weekend in a beach hut.
Yeah.
And people talking about the future. I suppose this is my one saving grace of cancer. I don't have to worry about this shit like you guys.
See, this is the thing. As somebody who, you know, fortunately enough, got through cancer, mate, and I tell you what, I can almost cry for you right now.
Hey, bud, I'd left lung cancer in 2017, and they cut it out, removed it. So I've been in remission for 5 years. Missed a couple of scans over COVIDs, and then when I did get a scan, oh fuck me, we found it in your right lung. We found it in your spine, your kidney.
Oh, mate, I'm
not sorry, Chris.
No,
mate,
I know, and it's the worst thing because being a cancer patient and a cancer survivor, the one thing you don't want is sympathy.
Exactly, mate. Yeah.
But it's hard to actually feel because I know what must be deep in your mind and things like that. I know.
I've had a long time to accept this shit, bud. You know, I think I was 48 last birthday. I think. I don't really fucking count my age, but I think I was 48 on Christmas Day. I'm surprised I made Christmas Day. I'm surprised I made the New Year. But month on month, I am getting worse with my breathing, and I know this shit. But this is the real double-edged sword of my cancer is I ain't got to deal with any of this shit when I'm gone.
Yeah, that's the one saving grace, mate. But like they say, it always gets the good ones, doesn't it? It always takes the good ones, but then it takes the bad ones as well because it's a non-discriminatory illness.
I've lived about 80 years in my my young 48 years. I worked hard and partied harder. You know what I mean? I've had a good go at stuff, Chris. Yeah, I've had a good go at life, and I've had a not a bad run. You know.
I'm just oh no, it does. It's my empathetic side coming out. It's like, and I'm thinking, look at me, how lucky I am, and and
hey,
there's people out there that's.
Listen, I might have terminal cancer, but there's people out there worse off than me, bud.
Yeah.
You know,
I always thought it's why was I the lucky one? Why was I you know what I mean? Because that's what I got. That's what I live with every day now is like, I've seen so many people die of it. I go for treatment and I just see all ages and I always thought, well, why me? Why was I the lucky one? Why did they catch it so early? And that's what I live with it now is there's so many people that is going to die from it, and there's more people going to die from it because of what happened over the last 2 years. And I could have been one of those people because they caught mine 9 months before the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
And just as the pandemic was hitting, I was finishing treatment.
Yeah. It's all about timing, mate. It's all about timing.
So I look at it now and I'm thinking,
I know it's not something you can talk about on here because it's heavily censored, but Gordon, are you aware of some other things you can use to help cancer?
In all honesty, bud, it's a blessing in disguise. like I say, in 2017, they just chopped it out of my left lung. Because of the Cancer Act, 1931, I think it is, there can be no cure for cancer offered. Before cancer, I was on about £1,000 a week working on building sites, working with the cranes. I didn't drive the fucker. I just put all the stuff on the chains and sent it up in the air. But you know, I had a good couple of years of you know, £1,000 a week, and now I'm on just over £1,000 a month. You know, it's sorry, excuse me.
No, mate, you don't apologise, all right? Just don't apologise.
No, I always do. It's good manners, sir.
I know it is. I know it is.
But yeah, I've had a good run at things. It's a blessing in disguise, because I've, to be honest, I can't remember the other fella's name. Anonicu. To be honest, Anon, I've had enough of this fucking world. You know, it's not a world that I want to spend 1 minute more in. To be honest, you know, the way it's going.
Gordon, do you do me a favor? Can you email me something? You know, email me your details, and we can have a chat off a line and things like that. You know, because I don't know what family you got, or you'd be interested in that or anything. You know,
it's just me, myself, and I've the friends I've got, I can count on one hand.
Yeah.
When I go there won't be any funeral or anything like that, because well, I come in with nothing, so I'm fucking off out with nothing.
Well, that's the only two. It's just certain things in life, isn't it? Is death. You know. I'm just speechless. I am now. I got Drew backstage. Let me look. I think it's Drew. Yeah, it would be Drew. Hello, Drew.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. We obviously got Anonicu and Gordon in as well.
Hello, Drew.
Hi, Graham. How you doing? Sorry, Gordon.
Evening, Drew.
All right.
I've heard you many times on Tyrant streamers in the past.
Great.
This is sultry tones. Hey, Drew.
Yeah.
We didn't have to spend thousands of pounds on a PC or £800 on a graphic card. Okay? Didn't have to do it. Didn't have to do it. Huh?
Oh, talking about me?
No. It's like when you showed me that £800 graphic card.
Oh, right.
No, I'm running now, mate. I'm all singing, all dancing, mate. I've only got, what is it? A 360 graphic card.
Right.
On a Ryzen 5 360. No, 3600.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's, what is it? Yeah. So it's running pretty well. I ain't having no problems with it anyway.
Oh, you want a PC now?
Yeah, I'm on a PC now.
Oh, okay.
So it's running NVIDIA GeForce 3060 on a Ryzen 5 3600.
Right. So it's a budget gaming box, basically.
Basically, budget gaming box, mate.
Yeah.
Budget gaming box. Does it all for you. Happy days.
Cool.
Yeah. Let's have a look at the chat. What's the chat saying? So what do you make of this protest today then, Drew?
I watched some local experimentist stream. I don't know, mate. I mean, more of the same, not really achieving much.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. I mean, something that, you know, I don't know whether I'm just being kind of paranoid and picking things out where they aren't, but, you know, it's kind of like they all advertise these things like quite in advance, but then it's kind of like all of a sudden there's one for next month at the same time or something, and when the current one is supposed to be promoted, all of a sudden you're seeing these flyers for the one next month. So I don't know, there just always seems to be, leading up to these things, a lot of sort of kind of confusion and, oh, is it this one, is it that one, you know? It seems to be I don't know if it's a tactic, but it's certainly something that emerged during the beginning of the protest, where they ended up getting traction, and then like the very next one they split it into two, didn't they? They had the Ike one and the just that nursewoman one, or however it was split. I can't remember now, but yeah. And it just sort of constantly seems that, you know, that happens, and it seems to me like an act of self-sabotage for the people who are running it, because surely the people that are running it, if they were, you know, fully on point and legit or whatever, they'd be out there leading up to it, really pounding it. And I just don't see that. But I mean, maybe I've got some confirmation bias going on, you know, I don't know.
It did seem very contrived. I watched the same stream, and a new girlfriend of mine was at the protest, and I saw her there, which is good. But it did seem it seemed like somebody went through those speeches first, very carefully edited who was going to be where and who was going to say what. It seemed very constructed all the way through.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch all of it. Was Piers down there?
Apparently, yeah, he did something with Jim earlier. I missed that. I didn't see that. That Correct Not Political film was filming that part, I think.
Right.
I saw all the speakers, and then the march to Downing Street.
Right.
It was.
And the limpid roses.
I know. I knew it was going on today.
A dozen of them. It was the roses. Wasn't as. I don't think it made much of an impression.
I did charge up my batteries to go down there, but I just couldn't be asked, really. I just didn't think it was going to be much cop. And I mean, even if there were, you know, a few thousand there, something like that, 5,000 maybe tops. I mean,
there was a bit of a crowd there at times, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially at the BBC, not so much at. Well, they did. There was a couple of thousand at Downing Street. And it's quite funny. There was some bloody pro-Ukrainian guy having a demo just before they arrived. That was quite amusing.
I mean, I just look at these things and, you know, I cringe, really. You know, you look at France and places like that, Holland, Germany, there's stuff kicking off there, and we're just pussy cloths, man.
Well, something I've been saying from quite an early time. I was involved a long time ago with animal rights protesters.
Mm-hmm.
In that I gave them a meeting room to have. And I met the leaders of the Animal Liberation Front, and one of whom, well, it was a couple, you know, they were a man and girlfriend. And they had a kid together. That was the copper who infiltrated them. I always remember how I smoked a spliff.
Yeah, I remember that.
I smoked a spliff with the guy.
Fucking hell, bruv.
It was cool, you know. He was as much as one of them as any of them.
Taking it up with the Met.
Yeah, he lived with them for several years. If they did that for that, what are they going to do for us? You guarantee they're going to be deep undercover, and they were in place a year before this happened.
Hang on. What do you mean? What are they going to do for us? I mean, they built the roads, gave us a sewage system.
No, I mean, they're going to bloody infiltrate us from the top to the bottom.
Oh, it's right.
That's what Brigade 77 is for. It's to disrupt.
Well, it's like today.
And look at Julian Assange in the UK.
Saying anything that goes against their narrative. Whether it's the porn bombers or the people accusing others of grifting. This is all stirred up, I reckon, by the same bloody thing. Divide and rule, divide and rule, divide and rule.
Absolutely. Anything that gets traction is going to get infiltrated and nobbled.
We got our suspicions who the infiltrators were. One or two that perhaps disappeared rather quickly or gave their channels to somebody else, not mentioning any names.
IQ's channel, you mean? Well, subject access.
Oh, what part of I didn't say it.
Subject to never heard of it.
I had what's that kid's name? Subject. I forget his first name. I mean, when he first started, you know, he was kind of like friendly with me, and he
was friendly with me, wasn't he? They all were.
Yeah, he came around my house with fucking Wills and bloody David Curtin and all of that to do a podcast.
Did he put a bug in you?
Do you know what?
I mean, there's been a few people around my gaff actually.
In my life now, I forgot his proper name.
There are a few people who've been around my gaff, and I've thought afterwards, God, you know, I wish I had some sweeping kit.
Yep.
You can get these little things for seeking out 5G emittance and things. Some of those,
but that's
and they are the same meters that you can use for finding a camera.
Strength.
They're only
we've all got magnetic fields in our houses now, haven't we? So
yeah. Probably the best thing to do would be to use a scanner and just sit there until you get feedback.
Well, that's the same sort of thing, using the same technology, isn't it? Really.
Radio.
Got to find me other glasses. I can't see.
But yeah, I mean, it's anything that's successful is captured, and it's just sort of systematic. You look at all the, I mean, at every level, grassroots, you know, your animal liberation and all of that, but right up to, you know, non-governmental orgs like Cancer UK and Help the Aged and Mind and all of these kind of organisations as well. They're all fucking captured. Citizens Rights Bureau, even.
It's like with everything, isn't it? It's all, you know, anything that's within the NHS is being privatised. Anything that makes money within the NHS is being privatised. Cancer treatments, you know, all the Macmillan nurses. You go to the cancer centres and the regional cancers, they're all run by Macmillan nurses.
Yeah, I mean, originally they were sort of, you know, they're supposed to be a cancer, you know, support charity.
Yep,
not a service provider.
But now they're a service
Mind's
provider
doing
in
exactly
the
the same
hospital.
thing.
Yep.
Mind is supposed to be holding government to account on mental health care and all of those sort of things. But now they've got a director of services, and they're fucking turning all of these kind of drop-in centres at the local mines into chargeable kind of support to local boroughs.
Okay, so here's a question.
You're not allowed to be a director of Mind or something like that unless you've been through Common Purpose or some similar type of fucking thing.
Here's a question.
Fucking lying cunt.
Of all these charities, how many of them have got a CEO? How many of them have got a CEO or more than 100 grand a year? And these are charities.
All of them charities have got people who are overpaid.
The charity begins at their fucking home, not ours, isn't it?
No, but it's the same in all of these places. Look at the academy schools. What's the fucking headmaster doing earning 250k a year?
Well, no, the academies are now businesses.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's the same thing that, you know, the professional management class in these places, you know, they get paid far too fucking much because they're being bribed. Simple as that, you know, and even if it's not in the salary somehow, it's worked into the perks, you know.
It's a bit like pharmaceutical companies goes into doctors' surgeries to sell them their wares, isn't it? You know, if you promote this brand of medicine, we'll give you this kickback.
Dare you,
but
Chris?
but we've got this happening in our schools now. Now we've got these schools that are academies.
Fucking everywhere.
That you've got these companies going in, well, if you promote this sort of woke agenda, we'll give you this sort of kickback. It's, you know, because academies can, as long as they do the the basic, you know, what's on the curriculum, reading, writing, arithmetic, all the funky stuff, they can teach whatever they want within that academy, as long as they teach the core fundamentals. So you get businesses going into there, you promote this agenda, you know, of course they're going to do it because the school only gets a certain amount of budget from the government a year, these academies. And you see a lot of these schools now that are being built, they're through schools. So these are brainwashing you from nursery. You go to one location from nursery. So from 3 years old, that some children go to nursery, they go to one school right the way through until they're 18 now. And some then even further.
But that was back in the day, like, you know, you'd go to a school. I only found out about academies when I sent my own son to an academy, and he had to sign a fucking contract. Underage, and he had to sign a contract to say that he'd abide by their rules.
Yep.
And it was
business.
It
It's
was
a business. They have a
yeah,
policy.
it was when they offered the contract, I was like, fuck me up and down. You know?
So these places that are being built now through schools, because they're, you know, promoting it through schools now, one location. It's indoctrination camps. It's conformist camps. That's all it is now.
Then they put a tower containing electric devices right next to it, so they can.
Oh yes, there's that as well, Anarchy.
They can scramble their brains while they're there.
Yes. See, that's another thing that amazes me. We got these 5G towers. They do look. They make a hum, don't they, when you walk past them? You know. So if they're not giving off some sort of shit, and they're putting these right outside schools.
Did you realise?
You know, I would stick him in the middle of
when
roundabouts
the
and
first
things like
lockdown
that, wouldn't you? Say again.
When the first lockdown happened,
Yeah.
every bloody town throughout the country suddenly had a
towers
company
installed.
digging up the pavements, installing 5G. Do you remember that?
Yeah, we're installing the fiber cables because if you look at it, as soon as
As soon as the lockdown, they must have
mate,
been
that was
planning
mad.
that for months and months and months to get those
The
that
rollout
many
of
workers all over
fibre-
the country doing that many companies set up ready to install. That
The
wasn't
rollout
done in a
of
week or
fibre-
two. That must have taken 6 months or a year to organise.
Do you know
Way
what? I used to
before the
work on
old,
I used to work on a
old
planning.
Lurgy struck.
Yeah, I worked on the railway, right? I used to be what they call a
I
long-term
worked on a
planner.
P-way as well, mate.
Oh yeah, I used to be a South planner, mate. So I used to plan long-term works. So this whole 5G tower shit, and mind you, during lockdown, they rolled out all these towers, all this fiber infrastructure. Our infrastructure curve went up during lockdown, and what we laid during lockdown, it was unreal.
Big time.
It just took a curve. We had all that fiber, we've all these towers going up, right? And we were all locked down. So infrastructure planning. Now, we when I used to do planning, I used to do T-5, right, which is T-5 years. So we used to start works planning 5 years out, right? Then you go down to T5, 5 weeks, T5 days, T3, all that. Right, and you have meetings throughout the planning stage. So the whole planning of works, was it just coincidence that the works were already planned before the pandemic hit, and because they were essential workers and they get to work and it made it easier, or was this all planned just so they could lay and get these towers up with the littlest of resistance as possible? Who knows?
It was interesting. As soon as the lockdowns were announced, the 5G was being installed. If you mentioned those two items on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, anywhere, you got an immediate suspension. Immediate.
What, for talking about all the works that
If
are
you
going
put
on
the
during
two
lockdown?
together,
Huh.
you were not allowed to speak about those two together in the same thing.
But where's the money come from?
I found that censorship very quickly.
You look at the hockey stick of our national debt right now, it's kind of self-apparent.
Well, I'm just adding to it a little bit more because I haven't paid council tax since 2013.
Good on you.
I've had a couple of visits off bailiffs, but the conversation is only about 20 seconds long. I open the door. They ask for the person. They ask for the person they're looking for. I don't admit nothing. I just say no contract and shut the fucking door. Job done. And it's worked since 2017, and I've not been to prison. I've you know, they don't take out my benefits. So I'm doing something right somewhere. Common law, cause no harm, cause no loss.
But don't they eventually just take you to court, fine you the 90 quid or the £90 expense and put it through? I mean, doesn't eventually happen?
I've had the bailiffs turn up a few times. I think the first lot was Drake's bailiffs.
Yeah.
And they turned up a few times. Because I've also got a notice of removal of implied rights of access in my front window. I've also got a fee schedule. So Drake's were handling it for a while. Then they sold it on to Marston's, and I've got CCTV coverage on my place. And one day Marston's turned up. And my neighbour was walking through the car park because it's a little cul-de-sac. And the bailiff asked my neighbour, "What's that notice mean?" And my neighbour just said to him, "That's for you to read, mate." And I've got it on camera, or I had it on camera, that he got out of his van, took a photo on his big fucking iPad thing, took a photo of my notices. And then he parked up for 20 minutes and fucked off. Never heard another thing. Until about 6 months later, when Drake's bailiffs then tried reaccruing the fucking contract. So Marston's handed it back to Drake's. And still, I've not been to prison. Nothing's happened. I don't get anything taken out of me. My universal credit or anything like that, and yeah, and I haven't paid TV license in fuck knows how long. I haven't even paid sewerage, because sewerage is based on an estimate, and I estimate that I don't owe them as much as they estimate that I do owe them.
Good on you, mate.
Fucking brilliant. I like it.
And I did have some bailiffs turn up for the sewage people a few times, but, oh, fuck me, the last time I had anything to do with sewage was fucking years ago, so they've given up on me and all.
That's madness.
So it can be done, people. You can stop paying these fucking tyrants your money.
Of course you can.
You know, and nothing will happen. It's all done on fear.
I always said that it's based on fear.
You know, I've luckily, well, different to you, Chris. I've had my family, and I'm just a single bloke now. You know, but I understand for some people that are family people. It's sort of like, dare I risk the family against the threat of what they're threatening?
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I'm living proof. Well, for so long.
Well,
nothing goes wrong.
If I didn't have my nearest and dearest to worry about, I think I'd be a little bit more than what I am now. But I've got to be careful. So I can only really fight the fight for my immediates. I can't fight the fight for everybody else. And I've stuck my head above the parapet, you know, and unfortunately, you know, I got away with what they tried to do me for. So I won all my cases. So it was, and then I thought,
and why did you win? Because you're fucking right.
Because I was right. Because it's like I keep telling them, I didn't go in there and, you know, I fought them with the laws that they fight us with. You know,
I've never been to a court.
Yeah,
I went to a court once with council tax, and I had my mate there as a Mackenzie friend, and we walked in and we tried the
common law.
Are you inviting us on board your ship and all of
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Yeah. End result, I still got fucking stiff with a fine.
There you go. You can't. Right.
Don't go to their place of business. They'll fuck you.
Well, see, this is what you got to look at it, right? Yes, you got to look at all lower courts, right? Because any serious crime will always go to a lower court first, and they get what they call Section 51 to the Crown. Now, Section 51 is what they call indictable only offences. Now, indictable can only be, that you'll go in a fucking prison, right? An either way offence is you can either go to prison or get a fine. That's an either way, right? But an indictable offence is you're going to jail if you get found guilty. Right?
And you're going to meet Raymond the Bastard.
Yeah, so everyone gets indicted at a magistrate court in front of a bench, and then it goes to the next hearing at the first pleas and directions at a Crown Court. So whether or not it's a funny old business, old common law and freeman of the land.
No. No.
Two different things.
Freeman of the land. No. I looked into it. It helped me along my journey.
Yes, it helps you.
But it's nowhere near as effective as common law.
No, you are 100% correct. It can aid you, right? Yeah. Because it aids you to distinguish the difference. And what it's taught me words. Words are very important of how we use them. I might use a word in the Oxford English Dictionary, which means something completely different within the eyes of legalese.
Black's law.
Black's law. Now, we have to look at ourselves as two people, right? Whether or not we stand under statutes and acts, because yes, you are quite right. You don't have to stand under statutes and acts. They are given the full force of the law by the consent of the governed.
Exactly.
But if you want to drive a vehicle, and we can argue the toss about I'm not driving, I'm traveling in my conveyance, because driving is a commerce terms, which you are 100% in Black's Law Dictionary. It is described as driving. It is a commercial term because you have a bus driver, you have a train driver, right? You have a taxi driver.
Yeah.
You have all those things, but yeah. So if you don't want to stand under the Road Traffic Act, then don't drive a vehicle, because you ultimately pay your road fund license to allegedly pay for the roads. You pay for your insurance in the inevitable that you crash your car into somebody, kill somebody, that you're going to get financial help to fight your legal bills, and then you can pay reparation to the injured party, right? So if you don't want to abide by any of that, then don't drive your fucking vehicle, because you can bark on all you want at the side of the road that you're traveling. You're still going to get ripped out your car, dragged to the station, and charged.
There is a YouTube bloke. I don't really want to name him, but he sort of went down that sort of route. He went to a protest and had his car parked down the road, and the police fucking nabbed him.
If you're going to go down that route and you're going to travel in your conveyance, and you know what I mean, just buy throwaway cars, £100 bangers and shit like that. But then again, if you run over one of my kids and kill them, then
I will find you.
I will find you and I will kill you.
Yeah.
End of story. You know what I mean? If you want to go down that route, all right, I'm all for all this. I'm for common law, but we've got to have a bit of practical sense. All right, you're not gonna walk into court, wave your birth certificate, and win. You know what I mean? You're not gonna win on that. All right. You can use it. You can have fun with it. Law's fantastic when you know it, right?
Yeah,
Brilliant.
there would be nothing that would make me step into their place of business.
No, I've ignored it, right? Because I've done it. I've ignored a few things and they have gone away. They've just disappeared. Because if you ignore something long enough, it just goes away eventually.
But
even
depending on what it is, they do come back.
You know,
Like what?
Council tax and all that shit I've done. You know, I think they've got the message. They ain't gonna fucking have it from me.
I mean, quite often credit card companies will sell on bundles of debt, old bundles of debt, things like that.
Yeah.
Those sort of things. And you get people writing to you out of the blue, don't you? Sort of, oh, you owe us $5,000 from 15 years ago or something.
Really? All right. Let me tell you the fact story now. All right.
I've never had a credit card.
Fact. I had a credit card. I ran the debts up. I then got cancer, but stupid me didn't pay for payment protection. So if I couldn't afford to pay the payment back, you know, so I contacted them and they're really good. Credit card companies are fantastic, right? I rang them up and said, look, I can't, you know, I've just been diagnosed with cancer. I'm going through treatment. They were fantastic. Yeah, not a problem. We're suspended at the time being, you know, go for your treatment. We wish you all the best. Just contact
Do they
us.
freeze the interest?
Well, no, what they did is, in the meantime, you know, they agreed at all that I didn't have to pay them. You know, I can just contact them when I was well enough and we commenced payment. But what they did, they sold the debt in the meantime and they sold the debt to Lovell. Right?
Right.
So I'm going through treatment and this, that and the other, and, you know, and I had this debt letter drop through my door saying, we're such and such, we've bought your credit card debt. And I'm thinking, what do you mean my fucking credit card debt? So that then, right, I opened up the letter and then what I did is I ignored it.
Carefully folded it up and put it in the bin.
Well, I don't throw it. It's my audit trail, so I keep it because I need it for my brain reference. So when I'm fighting these things, I've got everything.
Yeah.
So I ignored it, and then you get the letters coming all the time. You know, the red ones, and the same with the TV license. You know, just ignore it. Best thing to do is just don't enter Joinder. Joinder's a fantastic thing, right?
Joinder,
yeah.
Yeah,
because a contract can only be legal if it's two or more parties who are in agreement, right?
Yeah.
So, I had a credit card debt with the credit card company. I didn't have a debt with Lovell, right? I've meant no Joinder with them because I haven't even said I've had a letter from you. Because once you said you've had a letter,
just the same as any other fucking bailiff company.
Ignore it, right? then I had a county court.
That isn't with them, is it?
Well, I had a county court judgment sent from them. I knew what the county court judgment won because we can all go.
No, I've never had one of them.
Yeah. I had a credit card. Yeah, they sent it. The Lovell then sent it to county court. I then had the county court bundle, but we all know we can all go onto county court ourselves and pay 50 quid, and as long as the debt's over £250, anyone can claim it, right? So the best thing to do is once you get that debt from the potential CCJ, don't ignore it, because if you ignore it, they will always find in the plaintiff's favour. Don't ignore the CCJ. So respond to the CCJ. So I responded to the court, right? Because I'm still not entering Joinder with the company. I'm entering communication with the court. So I sent the court everything that I had cancer. I proved that I had cancer and I contacted them and everything. A week later, I got a letter from the court saying, thank you very much. We found in your favour. We've now thrown it back to Lovell. Right? Lovell's now still sending me letters.
Fuck off.
Yeah. I've had the CCJ chucked out, mate, already. They've tried to go to CCJ and I fucked them off already. Right? Because, do you know why? Because I fought them with law. Because I haven't entered no Joinder. I said, if you send the debt back to the credit card company, because I'm not paying your fucking interest, send it back to the original credit card company to the day I made the agreement with the credit card company to not pay, then I'll pay it. That's fine. So I can I can paperwork for years, but I never enter Joinder with the company that bought my debt, because as far as I'm concerned, you bought my debt. Thank you very much.
Do you know? Do you know how
hope
I
you enjoy
actually?
it.
Do you know how
Thanks
I
very much.
actually found out how the fucking system works?
Yeah.
I had a £300 overdraft with HSBC, and like yourself, it wasn't so much health. I was just going through some hard times and at the time. So I eventually called the bank and said to them, "Oh, about this £300 overdraft, can I pay it off at a tenner a week?" And they said, "No, we've sent it on to bailiffs." So when I heard that news, I went straight to my local HSBC. I gave them my cash card, debit card, over the counter. I said, "Can you just check that account for me?" And she done a lot of clicking and clacking on the computer. And she said, I said, "All I want to know is what's the balance on that account?" And she said, "Oh, there's a zero balance." I said, "So I'm not £300 in debt?" She said, "No, there's just nothing in the account. It's a zero balance." I said, "Take that card, love. Shut the account. Thank you very much." And that's when I found out that the bailiffs, they buy the debt for 20p in a pound or whatever.
Yeah.
Not even that sometimes.
Not even that sometimes.
But-
I told a story
but
about an
that's-
IVA.
But that's how I found out that, so long as the bank's happy, they got their fucking money from somewhere. And I actually wrote, I can't remember the company that I dealt with that was the debt company, but I wrote them a lovely letter saying, "Thank you very much for paying my debt off without my permission. Go fuck yourselves." And I never heard nothing since.
Got another
Yeah, I
story.
mean, these companies are buying multi bundles of, it's just like, we'll give you 10 grand for this pile of, literally a couple of $100 debt or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they just send out letters and chance their arm. And if someone feels threatened and vulnerable and they got the money, I'll write a check before they come round.
Yeah.
And it's just exploiting.
No, the moment you just even converse with them, they've got you. Just don't converse. Just fucking ignore it. You're entering into a contract with these people you because under law, a definition of a contract is an agreement of two or more parties.
Well, that was the extra letter I sent them. I sent them the thank you but fuck you letter, but I also put a letter in there saying, "Can you provide proof of the debt, where the debt's come from?" I can't remember the third thing that I had to ask for, but it's 3 things you have to ask for. And on top of that letter, I sent them a thank you but fuck you letter. Yeah.
I had some old debt come up from a credit card or something, and literally 15 years after the incident, as it were.
15 years.
Yeah, 15 years. I couldn't believe it.
Hey, hang on a minute. Statutory time limit's 10.
Yeah, no, I know.
I thought that's a statutory time limit on debts. 10 years.
No, I mean they'll try it if they, it's like there's no law against them writing you a letter going, "Oh, here's this debt. What are you going to do about it?"
The moment you've see, it's the moment you've correspond because you acknowledging that. Yeah, there was.
Yeah, but I've never acknowledged it or anything. In my case, I just ignored it. You know what I mean? And
yeah, that's what you got to do. That's the best thing to do because annoying things normally go away if you ignore them.
I'll tell you something, right? The only thing that hasn't happened is a bailiff turning up on my door so far, and I'm really, really wishing they would. Because what the bailiffs are looking for is the person, yeah?
Yep.
Now, I've got it in fucking writing about about my cancer assessment. That is, it's a malignant tumor, blah de blah de blah. I think it's a form DS 1500. It's for terminal illnesses, and I'm just jamming. I'm really hoping that a bailiff turns up so I can say, well, no, I'm not that person, but just give me a minute. I'll just go and grab him from the front room, and then I'll take through this piece of paperwork that has the person's name, the fact that the person's fucking ill, you know, and I have seen them like in some I'll use the word auditing video for safety's sake, but I have seen some bailiffs accept paperwork that says that you are vulnerable and stuff. See, I'm jamming for a bailiff to turn up so I can show him this fucking paperwork. The person's dying.
Yeah.
But yeah, hasn't happened yet.
It's just madness. It's how you play the system, isn't it? You're never going to win against the system as long as you're in it, and as long as everyone stays in it, as I see it. You're not going to win against it, but you can have some fun in it.
Yeah,
it's all about how you play the system, and some people can play it to their advantage because they've learned how to play it, and it's not manipulating it because they wouldn't let you manipulate the system.
But there are a lot of people out there who are kind of, you know, vulnerable in some way.
Well, my dad always said, "Son, you can't beat the system." And if my dad was still alive, he went through pancreatic cancer, so I knew I was going to get cancer or heart attack like my granddad. So I knew one or the other was coming. But my dad always said, "Son, you can't beat the system." Well, if my dad was still alive now, he would probably fucking find it incredulous that I haven't paid my council tax and my sewerage and my TV license. He'd be tearing his hair out, trying to figure out how the fuck he getting away with that, son. Because he was always he worked hard, bought his house when he could, when Thatcher allowed it from the council. Yep. You know, he was one of those.
Worst thing ever, that.
I know, bud, but you know.
I could have brought my flat about 8 years ago for literally like 50, 70 grand or something like that with all the discounts, and it was valued at over 200k at the time. And I just didn't do it because I just, you know, I don't believe in it.
Yeah.
If they were building houses with the money that you pay for your flat,
but they didn't know, did they? It didn't replenish nothing.
Yeah, that's it. And even the council blocks, like in my borough where I live in London, you know, I mean, it's just been wholesale taking. I mean, it's made the news and everything, national news, because they're literally just sort of Haygate Estate and various places like that, knocking them down, maintaining them, guarding them, you know, stripping the land, and then giving them for pennies on the pound to fucking Lend-Lease, who are making these kind of offshore piggy banks, basically. You know, the new development, Elephant Castle, is, you know, what used to be 1,500 council flats is now like no lights on in these nice new blocks that have all been brought, you know, by the Chinese and Russians and people like that. It's disgusting. The ex-leader of Southwark Council now has a corner office at Lend-Lease, you know what I mean?
They're going to take those that own houses. They're going to take them if they can. There's going to be this. They're going to use the bloody climate bullshit to do it. And the plan is by 2025 you've got to be have a certain energy coefficient in your home. Otherwise, if you don't reach the standards, you won't be able to sell it. And eventually, they plan, if you
this is CBD, by the way, officers.
Standard, they will fine you, and if you don't pay the fine, they will take your property. You will own nothing. Who said that? I seem to remember that a little while ago. You will own nothing and be happy.
Banana Q. you will eat the bugs, and you
Yeah,
will
yeah.
nothing, and you will be happy.
But at least you'll be able to go 15 minutes from your home.
Yeah, what's all this 15-minute fucking shit about, right? We haven't even got fucking borders on our own country, and they want to put borders on towns now. What the fuck?
It's mental. It's
Isn't it?
fucking mental. I mean, like,
Oxford will be interesting next month, I think. I think a lot of interesting people might turn up to that.
Yeah, but if we all got to look at it as well. They're already restricting people with these congestion charges and the Ulis and shit. So, and me and Sean was out yesterday driving around, and we're just going into the invisible wall. And it is. You hit there, and they've restricted you, and you can't scoot around it because they've got this tiny little part that you've got to go into the congestion zone to get out of it. It's madness. So they're restricting you into areas, invisible walls. That's what these cameras are gonna. And it's going back to technology. It's going back to this whole rollout of the infrastructure during lockdown. All these cameras that they're putting up for Ulis and shit like that wouldn't have worked without the system that they've now got in place. Because we're talking about if it can read your car registration plate, because it is only an algorithm at the end of the day, it can read your face.
All the shit that's going on in the world is connected and planned at the moment. There's very little going on that's not part of this big mass plan.
Lockstep.
Weather modification, the war, the threat of war in China, all the COVID crap. It's all connected. The banks, the finance, the oil, the fuel, the 15-minute cities.
What is Ike connected together? What has Ike said all along? And take it as Ike, and I take him with a pinch of that. Because I don't trust him as his far. But he said he's problem,
controlled. He's a
reaction, solution. Yeah? Problem, reaction, solution.
David Icke was told to stay in his lane. Only talk about what he's allowed to talk about. That's how it comes he's still being allowed to express his views.
Yeah, I mean, whether he's just being handled or whether he's a sort of willing partner in the thing, I'm not sure, but he's definitely handled and compromised.
Yeah.
The lizard thing is deliberate to give him something to discredit him with.
Well, I mean, that's his whole kudos, isn't it? This discredited man, you know, it's kind of part of the pantomime, isn't it? I mean, you know, he was losing traction, right? Mm-hmm. It had all kind of fizzled with the lockdown protests and everything, right? And all of a sudden, there's this kind of thing in the national mainstream media, like all of them in coordination, right? Oh, David Icke's being banned from Amsterdam or Netherlands or whatever, right? You know, and there's this kind of big, full fucking interview, blah, blah, blah about it in fucking Vice. You know, I mean, it's like, hang on a minute. You know, it's like he's kind of becoming insignificant again. And then all of a sudden, the mainstream establishment help him to be this kind of vilified and banned individual again and puts him back in the public eye. I mean, what the fuck is that about?
Da, 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 da.
Something doesn't pass the sniff test.
And everybody had to send their email address in, a London Reel, so they could bloody watch it.
Yeah, that was right at the beginning of the lockdown, wasn't it? Remember that?
Yeah, great information collecting, name collecting.
What mugs they are.
Another person like who is connected to Ike is Sean Tabini or I can't forget his last name, but he used to run David's website, and he was the managing director of the People's Voice TV, and they fell out. But he's based in America now, and he's putting out this kind of real bait, shill kind of stuff. There's been a few clips posted in your channel. Every time I see him come up, I'm like, he's a wrong one, mate.
Yeah.
He's a real shit stirrer. You know, he goes for the sort of, you know, the more content. Yeah. He's the guy. I set up the People's Voice Bitcoin thing for him, yeah, and made some adverts so they could sort of, you know, punt it at the time of the People's Voice. And they were given, you know, serious amounts of money. And in fact, when I first set it up, they were kind of like, "Oh yeah, we're right, Bitcoin, we'll say it, whatever, yeah, go."
Yeah,
for
but
it.
it's a bit like everyone. Like, who was the other one? And I thought, what was his name? Paul Joseph Watkins. He was a.
Oh yeah.
Now, I thought he was all right. I used to watch, you know, a little bit what he posted on YouTube and
He's a
shit like that.
protege of Alex Jones, isn't he?
Well, but then I seen a video of him on a hotel bed, fucking talking to a couple of cam girl prostitutes that somebody like Tate would be pimping out. You know what I mean? These cam girls.
Tate sent him a few freebies.
Who knows? You know what I mean? It's funny how all these fucking people that people follow are all connected with each other.
Yeah, Sean
There's a
Atwood creeps
connection.
me out.
Yeah.
Yeah, creepy.
He is a
Sean Atwood.
creepy little geezer, that one.
I can remember Sean Atwood. Yeah, where was it? Was he the one in Trafalgar Square when it all just before it all kicked off, and he was going on about Pizzagate?
Probably.
Yeah, and it all kicked off. Then that's when I jumped on top of the TV wagon to get the best view of the kickoff. I'm sure
It's kind of like he goes for these subjects, you know, alternative media type subjects, but he's definitely into the salaciousness of it all, which I find just, you know, slimy.
Drew, do you know anything about Bitcoin at all?
In what sense? I mean, yeah, I've used it, brought stuff with it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. It's just I'm a bit of a Luddite, and I don't quite understand how it works.
Right.
As far as I know, there's 21 million Bitcoins.
Yeah, that's right.
But they
haven't all been mined yet. I think they're about 18, 19 million at the moment. But yeah, they're getting to the end at the moment.
But there's like conservative estimate 8 billion people on the planet. Bitcoin's not backed by anything, is it?
It's backed by work. I mean, you've got. I mean, that's the other thing is like, you know, it gets mined, you know, and like basically by solving.
There's 9 billion people on the planet, so not everyone can have a piece of this Bitcoin, can they?
Yeah, but
well,
can we ask this one fundamental question? How many Bitcoins out there?
There's 21 million Bitcoins, but a single Bitcoin is not infinitely divisible, but you can, you know, it has it's made up of satoshis, I think it's called. So there's you can buy fractions of a Bitcoin, yeah. And that you know, it's like I suppose, you know, you've got 100 pennies in a pound or whatever type of thing.
Yeah.
So, but you know, a penny may be worth more than a penny. You know what I mean? Like, you know,
there's an elephant in the room.
Peruvian dollar or whatever at the moment.
Yeah,
is
but
worth...
it's a bit like cash, and it's a bit like everything. If everybody went out and cashed in their Bitcoin right at this very instant, at the same time, everyone went and cashed it in. Bit like if everyone went to the banks and drew all their money at the same time, it'd collapse. It would crash. Right? So isn't that a Ponzi scheme? Sort of?
Not really. I mean, in the same way as that you can crash the banks. I mean, it's all on confidence, really, isn't it? I mean, it's an instrument of commerce or whatever you want to call it. And just like, you know, if everyone hit the banks at the same time, I mean, you know, Bitcoin's a live thing, so it fluctuates. You know, if some big fish goes and dumps a whole, you know, $1 billion worth of Bitcoin into the market because they're cashing out, then, you know, it'll drop the price of Bitcoin a bit for that day. You know what I mean? But someone's often always there to, snap it up or whatever.
But this is the
There's
thing
another in the room with
I've never quite understood. There's only 21 million Bitcoin, and if this technology was supposed to help humanity, how does 21 million divide into 9 billion?
Because it's, divisible. You can buy fractions of a Bitcoin.
Right.
And just in the same as Bitcoin per Bitcoin used to be worth nothing and is now, 19,000 or something at the moment. So each fraction of the Bitcoin becomes worth more. So, instead of having to walk around with, a handful of tenors in your pocket, you're only having to walk around with a handful of pennies in your pocket instead, because they're worth more. You know what I mean? The fractions.
Right. But for people, I mean, like myself, like I say, I'm a bit of a Luddite on technology. This is the first time I've ever done like a video restream studio. First time I've ever done.
Talking about when Bitcoin first started. It's worth 19,000 at the moment. Last time.
There is an elephant in the room.
One fraction.
Bitcoin.
Yeah.
There's an elephant in the room.
What's that?
And that is the governments of the world want to bring in a digital currency so they have control over everybody.
Yeah.
They will not.
Well, they're doing that as a kind of reaction to crypto coin.
A parallel currency like Bitcoin to happen. They guarantee you they got plans in place to take it down, and one day,
oh, absolutely,
it will go down to zero. It could go. They could just switch it off somehow.
Well, no, they can't switch it off unless they switch off the entire internet.
Well, they could even do that.
Well,
we're in weird times, but I guarantee you,
the only reason that CBDCs have come up is because of Bitcoin.
Yeah,
because it threatens the sovereignty of their money.
Yep.
If they want to bring in one currency way and you're controlled through it, they will
but
not
that'd be
allow
Bitcoin.
You to
But
Bitcoin.
but
That
it's
I
what
can
one are they going to use? Right? Is are they going to use Bitcoin, lithium, or whatever one it is? Whatever one it's going to be, or they choose, they make all
They'll
the
be
other
their
ones
own.
illegally.
It won't
It'd
be
be their own.
independent, it'll be their own.
It'd be their own, right? And they make all the others illegal.
Yeah,
because this is what they're trying to do. The whole thing with FTX and everything. This is the whole start. The whole start of these crypto kings and queens that have done runners with vast billions of pounds and shit like that. This is all to make it illegal.
Like everything, isn't it, Chris? You're going to get people who see something, see a
are.
lack of understanding in it, and think that they can exploit that
Yes.
to rip people off.
Yeah. But then they're going to
I
regulate
prefer
it
to have
then,
people like that in the system, in the world or whatever, alongside people trying projects like Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Than us being locked down to a completely trackable digital currency that, if we're trying to buy a can of beer out of our 15-minute zone or something, for whatever reason, it's sort of your card won't work.
It'd be their own sort of crypto digital currency. That's when they've got full control. Then that's when they can say, well, you bought too much alcohol this week, Drew. You can't buy it anymore.
The way things are going, the skullfuckery they're trying to engage in at WF, it's like, the gloves are off, mate. They want us, so it might even relate to your calorie content.
Barter. You will need goods to barter.
Yeah.
So if you're clever now, you will be putting those sort of goods that will be wanted a buy. Zippo lighters, AA batteries. Little solar chargers.
So, Drew, if I get this right, you said, I don't know, 5 minutes ago that Bitcoin is backed by confidence. Is that not the same way that fiat money works?
Oh, yeah, of course it is.
Yeah, exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
But if something is put beyond the control of governments and they can't shut it down, which is effectively the case with Bitcoin, they can make all the laws they like, but if you're kind of able to get on the internet and make a direct connection with someone, or send something from your Bitcoin wallet,
there's your important word there. There's your important word there, Drew.
What, the internet?
If you
If
can
what?
get on the
make the
internet.
direct connection.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the Bitcoin.
I'm not
is
trying to
a degree-
shoot you down, bud. I'm not trying
No,
to
I
shoot
mean,
you down on
Bitcoin
nothing.
is
I
reliant on
just
the internet. But I mean, you can actually still use Bitcoin without the internet. Like, you can go in with your, you know, digital wallet and make transfers directly.
So what sort of things might you have bought with your Bitcoin? Are we talking like a loaf of bread and a pint of milk sort of thing, or are there bigger purchases?
Electronics and drugs mostly.
Bigger purchases, yeah.
Yeah.
Top man.
I mean, it's before I was prescribed weed, I brought my weed with Bitcoin online.
Oh, fair play, mate. Like I say, that's something I've missed out on, but yeah.
Check out Project 21.
Okay, but I'll give it a look after.
If that's something you're into and maybe want to use as a kind of pain relief type treatment, I mean, you'd be like that. You'd be prescribed, and
What would we prescribe? Weed.
Yeah. You could get
you'll
flour
get it
or
straight away.
oil or cart capsules. Just look up Project 21 at Drug Science online, and
Brilliant.
you can.
Cheers, mate.
You can get a consultancy for about £50 to £100, depending on the clinic. The repeat prescriptions are about between nothing and £30 each, and the products within the Project 21 scheme are roughly £5 a gram,
Well, that's
which is 150
fucking...
quid an ounce.
Yeah, well, I'm paying
Medical
£20 a
grade
gram at the
flour.
moment. I mean, my dealer is only just 3 minutes up the road by my scooter, 4 mile an hour. Born to be mild.
Oh, you'll have the
you know what I
people
mean?
in the chat. Oh, look at that. You got terminal cancer there, mate, and you're still smoking. Fucking hell.
I got terminal cancer and I'm still smoking. Yeah, because that's the biggest of my fucking problems right now.
Yeah. I get it all the time. Oh, you got treatment, you got over cancer, and you're still smoking.
CBD oil is a bit of a scam.
I tell you this, Chris, right? I said
actually,
this.
I've got some here. Look,
I said this to my mate earlier, right? If you've ever seen Max and Paddy and Max,
Yeah.
when they were arrested and went into prison and went into the showers and seen Raymond the Bastard.
Oh, yep.
I would rather spend a week as Raymond the Bastard's bitch than spend 1 minute longer than I have to being the bitch of the government by taking their fucking drugs that they've put me on.
might have a bit now.
Yeah, I agree with that, mate. They are some nasty shit.
Might have a little bit of CBD oil now, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, you lovely bastard.
It was the chemo that I thought was going to kill me of more than anything. I didn't think the cancer was going to get me. It was the chemo. Honestly, after the first round that I went in, because I got through, I had a lung removed, top right lobe removed. I was
Upper right lobe, yeah.
Yeah, so I had VAT surgery. So couple of hole needle ports in the back, one in the back, 2 in the side. And then he pulled part of my lung out in a plastic bag out the side of my chest. Yes, I'll tell you what, fantastic surgery, VATS, which is video assisted thoracic surgery, right? Whereby before, if they had to remove a lung from you, they would crack you from nipple right the way round your side.
Yeah,
right
they used to crack your sternum, didn't they? And open you up like a...
Yeah. So, and you would have a massive scar. Now, me, I see, it's weird. I have nothing. You can see a couple of little scars, no more than
They've done the same for me on my left upper lobe lung. Yeah, mate. It was Keo, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic how they do it. And that I came out of hospital in what, 4 days? Up on my feet. 2 hours after surgery, I was on my feet. It's fucking amazing. Normally, you would be laid up in 10 days.
It is amazing, but it has made doctors and surgeons very complacent.
Yeah.
I mean, I was literally walked out the door after my last surgery while still bouncing off the walls, and they were like, "Yeah, there were complications, a lot of scarring, blah blah blah." And I'm like, in my days, like, well, that's because I waited 6 fucking years for this operation, and that's it. Bye, out the door, you know. And it's like 6-8 hours later, I'm in fucking agony, back in A&E again, because they literally discharged me as I came round
Too
for my
early.
surgery. But that's the way that they've got so casual about it with all this keyhole surgery and stuff. It's like, oh, look, you're up on your feet already. Bye. You know what I mean? When you should be fucking lying on your back for a couple of days after having an organ removed or whatever.
Well, it is. You are. They still class it as major because it is still. I think it was 7 hours, 8 hours surgery still to remove it like
you?
that. Yeah. To have the lung removed. Yeah.
Man. Long
So,
term.
I went down. I can remember. I went to. I walked down to the operating theatre. I led on the bed, and I looked over to the clock, and it was 25 to 11. All right, and then the next thing I remember is waking up, and it's 7:15 at night, and I'm coming round in recovery.
It's weird, isn't it?
When-
Coming around from
when
surgery
I-
to
when
someone
I
on the
came-
day.
When I came round in recovery in 2017, I woke up and said, "Stop the surgery! I'm awake."
Yeah.
Mr. Redding, it happened 4 hours ago.
I bet they get that a lot, actually.
I
bet
got
they
the
get that
nurse.
a lot.
I got the nurse. All I can remember is waking up, and I got the nurse shouting at the doctor, going, "I need you to sign it. I need you to sign his morphine pump off. He's going to be in a lot of pain." And I'm like, "Hang on a minute. I ain't in no fucking pain here. I am like fucking flying." Like she's there going, "Oh, hello," and she's talking to me, and I'm like, "All right." And I went, "Well," like she went, "We're just getting you your morphine pump," and I'm thinking, morphine pump? I don't know what that is, but it sounds
good.
Sounds all right. And they came over with this locked box with this syringe inside this big locked box, and she gave me this button. She said, "Every
There's my
15
morphine
minutes,
supply.
Hit it, baby.
She said, "Every 15 minutes,
Flick it like it's a bean."
you can, yeah, every 15 minutes you can hit this button." I was like, "All right, I'll get the gist of it." So I hit it. I hit the button. I was like, "Yeah, this is good." You know, and then I was on that for the next 3 days, and I was, I could always then come round, and it used to like wake up from it, and it'd be like, "Oh, I'll hit it again," and then all of a sudden you just black out for the next few minutes. It used to be great.
Yeah,
And then
I
I had
remember
another one.
that.
I had this other one. It's like
Kills the
it
day,
wasn't-
doesn't it? Gets time
Well,
going by.
there was another one. It was like a balloon. I was wearing on my front, which was given a slow reacting painkiller into a nerve or somewhere, so I didn't feel any pain. So that was going. I was high as kites. Great. Pharmaceutical drugs are brilliant.
Yeah, I don't know. Some of them are right, but I don't know. I just find them too clinical, you know.
Do you know the scariest time I ever had with morphine? I donated a kidney to my boy in 2006, and he was in Great Ormond Street, and I was in Guy's and St Thomas's. The scariest moment for me was when I wanted to go out for a cigarette, and I had a morphine pump all plumbed in, and he said, "Yeah, okay, go downstairs, have a cigarette." And I'm downstairs in the middle of fucking London with a fucking morphine drip, having a cigarette, looking around at the people around me, thinking, "Fucking hell, this is really dodgy."
You get mugged for your pump.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It
I
was
used
weird.
to wonder what they thought when I went outside for my spliff
No, I had
and come
this-
back reeking of a fucking Amsterdam cafe.
I had this whole vision of the old cancer because he said, right, when I had the operation, the surgeon came round and said, It was all depending. They said you might need chemo after the surgery. It all depends on if they can take it out. They get a good enough margin between the cancer and healthy tissue, as they call it. It's called a margin. She said, but you might have to have what they call adjuvant chemo as a mop up. I was like, well, right. She said, well, you might not have to have it. We talked to your surgeon. So the surgeon came around and he said, well, I think it's best. We did get a good enough margin, but to be belts and braces, as they call it, we'll give you adjuvant. And I the first round of chemo, and I mean, I had I didn't have what they call a PICC line to begin with, so I had the first round in a normal vein. But I found straight after that, as soon as I had the cisplatin, which is the nastiest platinum-based chemo drug you can think of, my veins become hard in my hand. And I'm thinking, well, that's a bit wrong. So I then had it then in a PICC line. I had it going up my arm in through a tube, going all the way down underneath my armpit, and it sat just outside my heart. The cisplatin drug, and that's how they pump it around your fucking body. Mental.
You know, mate.
Yeah. I was only going to have one round of chemo, and I was going to sack it off because it made me that ill. I thought I was going to die. And
Chris, I've got to be honest, mate. I feel really lucky because, like I say, in 2017 they just chopped it out, and I had no other treatment after that.
They didn't offer you chemo, and that's weird.
No, they just chopped it out, and then left me on the you get the is it CT scans or
well obviously
you know the donut scans, yeah. I was put on those.
Let's explain for people who don't know the process of diagnosis of.
Just give me a minute. Give me a minute.
Go on.
I got my friendly local dealer, bless her. Her sister died of breast cancer. Her niece of 12 was diagnosed with breast cancer at 12, and my friendly local dealer, bless her, she had a mastectomy, so she had a breast removed, and she went through all the chemo stuff. Why I wasn't offered it, I don't know. Perhaps they chopped it out and thought that was it and just left them to it. I haven't got a clue, mate.
Because obviously, for people who don't know, the cancer is a stage of diagnosis because they find a mass or they find a suspected mass.
They found a shadow on my lung, yeah.
That's what they did with me. They found a shadow on my lung. Then you go for a CT scan. That shows it up. Then you go for what they call a needle stick CT, which they then take cells from that tumor, whatever it is, because they don't know what it is yet. It could be just a mass, what they call an encapsulated. Because say if you've had pneumonia or chest infection and your body couldn't get rid of that infection, your body's got a natural reaction to encapsulate it and calcify it. And that's how they protect your body, and it will stay in your body forever. But it's perfectly fine. So they tested it. It then comes back. Well, yeah, it's come back as cancer, and then you go through what they call PET scan, which is they inject you with obviously sugar, don't they? It's a radioactive sugar and cancer.
The one that gives you a little warm feeling in the bladder and that.
No, that's a CT with contrast, so that would show up.
I reacted really badly to it.
Yeah, some people do. Some people, you get hot flushes. It feels like you piss yourself. But with a PET scan, they inject. It's like radio. You got to go into a special room. You've got, if you don't turn up, because this is measured for your body. This radioactive injection, because if they give you too much, they're going to kill you. Give you too little, it's not going to work properly. So they give you a PET scan. So they inject you with this radioactive sugar because cancers stick to sugar. That goes around your body, and then they see if your cancer spread. They could then, if it spread to your liver, your brain, and things like that, because normally your body's pretty good. It's got what they call blood-brain barrier. Yeah, nothing can normally pass into your blood-brain barrier.
And I never got a vaccine test, so my intact.
So they had that. Then you get a grading of your cancer, so that all comes back. So then it gets you whether or not your stage of cancer, the grading of your cancer, and whether or not it spread. So it goes to what they call an NO-MO scale, and which is NO is nodules and M is master-sized. So I had one mass and I was NO, so I was no nodules. So I had no lymph nodes. So it hasn't come into any of my lymphatic system, and it wasn't master-sized. So I had no other masses in my body. So it was a local cancer. So that's how they then put my treatment plan in. So what staging of cancer were you when you were diagnosed at? Because I was stage 1.
Well, I've never heard these things, these stage 1 or nothing. In 2017, on June the 2nd, 2017, I went into the thoracic consultant's room with 2 nurses, and I knew it was bad news because 2 nurses were there. And he said to me, and it was, I don't know whether you remember being told the first time you were told you had cancer. It's like a slap in the fucking face, and it's like a paddle slap right across your face. It's fuck.
It was a nurse that told me. It was a cancer nurse, and I thought I was being called in, and the nurse took me in, and I was laughing and joking with my wife because I thought, it's a nurse, because surely a nurse isn't going to tell me I've got cancer. It's going to be a doctor, if anything. It wasn't a cancer nurse.
There were 2 nurses walked into the consultant's office just before me, so I knew it wasn't good news.
Yeah.
So on June the 2nd, 2017, I was diagnosed, and on July the 2nd, I live in Bournemouth, and on July the 2nd, I was in Southampton Hospital having it chopped out. I've had no chemo or anything since. Like I said, I missed a couple of scans through COVID. But when I did get a scan, they found out that, you've got it in the right lung, you've got it in your spine, and you've got it in your remaining kidney. I was offered treatment, but I did say to the consultant, I said, well, no, because of my quality of life since the last operation, because after 2017, I thought I'd be going straight back to work and stuff. I thought I'd be, all good, off to work, carry on with life. But no, it didn't happen like that.
Doesn't that PET scan sort of like supercharge and feed the cancer in that process? Like, here, have some fucking sugar.
It's swings and roundabouts, isn't it? It's yes.
But Chris, just carry on. I've not been told that I've got stage 4 or anything like that. I was just told.
They had to have told you, because it's all done on stage, and it's and that's how it's a scale of it. It's you must have been further along when you had a scan. They must have multiple sites, but then
in 2022 in June, I was reaffirmed with cancer, and the consultant said, we can offer you this treatment and that treatment, the other treatment, and I said, no, I'm refusing treatment. I'm just going to let it take its course. But I've never been told, you've got stage 1, 2, or 3, or 4 cancer. He just told me. Well, the funny thing is,
well, if it's terminal, it's stage 4. That's
Well,
terminal. Because stage 4
well,
is master size, multiple organs.
Well, the consultant told me on one visit that I had cancer in the right lung, and then a week later I had a further phone call from the hospital saying, "Oh, it's now spread to your spine and your kidney."
Was that after you'd had the operation?
My operation was in 2017.
Right.
See, this is weird because if, like my consultants told me, he said, "Look, as far as we're concerned, you're cancer free. But if you ever get cancer again, regardless of where I get that cancer, it will always be classed as a lung cancer. So if it comes back now and it's in my brain, it will be still a master-sized cancer from my lung."
Yeah,
it's a weird thing, and my consultant said, depending on where it comes back, you're going to be terminal the next time. That's it. There's limited treatment. We may be able to give you chemo or radiotherapy to slow it down and give you a better quality. So,
yeah.
but obviously, I was diagnosed and staged right at the beginning. But I know if it ever comes back, it's terminal.
I don't know. Can you see that?
Hang on.
I'm really bad. I can't turn the camera around. I don't know how to.
I don't really want to see it. It's personal. I may. It's not. I don't want to see your personal. But
No,
the
it's just-
doctors must. You should ring them up if you don't know what staging it is. I would ring up your doctor and say, "Look,
Well, all it says is part 1 condition, malignant tumor of lung,
yeah,
clinical features, progressive metastatic disease,
yeah,
treatment, palliative. Is there any other interventional treatment plan which may significantly alter progression of the condition? Is none, because I've refused treatment."
and you've got it in multiple organs. It's not. It's spread. So you've got it.
Yeah, it's spread,
spine.
bud, yeah.
Yeah, it's in obviously.
Yeah.
Have
So
you tried
even if
adjusting your diet?
even if they operated on the lung, it's already elsewhere. So
Yeah. It's no point once it's in it's lymphatic now. So once it's in, it's unfortunate thing is once it's in your lymphatic system, it's in your stream, isn't it? Your bloodstream. It can go anywhere in your body. Then, that's why they try to keep it out, as best they can outside your lymph nodes and stuff like that from spreading. But once it's there, it's bad.
It's, because of the COVIDs, I didn't get the scans that I was booked for. Whenever you've had if you've got a cancer diagnosis, you have a schedule of certain scans on certain dates.
Yeah.
Just keep checking that it's not returned. And yeah, because of COVIDs, I missed out on about 4 or 5 scans. So when I did get a scan eventually, yeah.
God, I was even in COVID.
Gordon, have you changed your diet or done anything about that to improve your situation?
Drew, to be honest, no.
Right.
I've had a good life, bud. I've had a good life, and I don't want to see the world of tomorrow, mate. Not the way it's going. I'm like I said to Chris earlier, it's a double-edged sword, It's a shame to be leaving, but just get me off this fucking rock. I've had enough. It's all acceptance, mate.
Yeah. I mean, it's different league and stuff, but I was kind of diagnosed as pre-diabetic a few years back, and
diabetes, mate. I wouldn't want to live with that, mate.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've basically, you know, just well, not completely, because, you know, I just get too much cravings for sweet things. But it's funny though, since I've really changed my diet, the cravings are starting to wane a bit. Like I allow myself once a month, I'll bake some chocolate chip cookies or some brownies, you know, all homemade with organic eggs and all of that.
Hang on, I'm just leaving the house. I'm on the way.
But like, you know, I'm coming up, where is it? 20th, 22nd, and 26th is my cheat day basically. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not really that bothered about it this month. It's kind of weird. I'm losing my craving for sugars.
I have heard that keeping a more alkaline system in the human body is more beneficial, but obviously I just learned that too fucking late.
Yeah.
Oh, very much, and it helps get things better.
Yeah.
Really, it's not worth giving. It's not too late. It's the alkaline really can help.
No,
I mean,
it's too late. I've run out of beer.
Yeah. There's been some pretty impressive stories of people who have kind of, you know, gone fuck it, you know, and just really got into it and reversed some quite sort of severe stuff.
Yeah, I'm not interested in that version of events, man.
Yeah,
I've had enough. Get me the fuck off this rock.
Oh, I just love it. You know, accepting.
That's what it is, Chris. You bang on, mate. It's all about acceptance, mate.
I think I think also it's how you get through it as well. As you know, if you've resigned to the fact is that, yeah, you know you got it. You know, there's nothing you can do. You're just biding your time now. But then there's people that want to fight it, and it's all down to your attitude is whether or not you do get through it. And I do find it's the more positive you stay, you know. And obviously, I wanted to survive, and I've got children and things like that. So I had to live. I had to. There's no two ways about it. They already lost one father to cancer.
Yeah.
You know, so it's I had to. But some people who know it, what resign to the fact is their fate, they just live their life. Yeah.
Well, I drink 5 of these a day from 11 o'clock until about 5 o'clock. Then I'll have some dinner, and then I'm on probably a pint of water or possibly a cup of coffee, and then I'm off to bed.
What do you eat?
You ever heard of Wiltshire Farm Foods?
Vaguely, I think.
Yeah,
They do like frozen meals that you can just throw in the microwave and cook from frozen. Take about 10 minutes, but the difference between those meals and the meals I might find in Tesco is the meals in Tesco, you know, usually sort of like a meat and sauce with rice or a meat and sauce with noodles, whereas the Wiltshire Farm Foods, they have sort of like the meat and actually fresh vegetables like peas and green beans and proper potatoes. So it's, you know, it's got your proper fibre in there, a bit of veg. You know, I love a bit of veg.
I had to give up mostly veg. I mean, I used to kind of really love peas and carrots, and you get the carrots and chop them up in little squares, you know, so they cook at the same time. And I'd eat a pile of that like with every meal, and I was just like not losing any weight. And I'm like, what the fuck? And it's like there's loads of sugar in peas and carrots, so I gave it up.
Hey, give peas a chance, man.
Oh, I love them. But I probably haven't eaten peas and carrots in probably a couple of years.
That's why I get the Wiltshire Farm Foods, because it's sort of like got a meat with some sauce of it, and you got like either mashed potato or new potatoes, and you know, peas, carrots. You've got the veggie there, you know, and it's I you don't get the veggies in like your ping and dings that you get from Tesco's and stuff, do you?
I mean, I rarely buy those things, but I'd say once upon a time I used to buy those kind of extra special ready meal type things, and I'd get one of those occasionally, and they were half decent. But even the extra special stuff that you get in Sainsbury's and Tesco's like that these days, it's fucking dog shit, mate.
Yeah.
Garbage.
But I did actually used to cook from scratch. I'd go to my local butchers and get 500 grams of mince, and I'd turn that into a chili or a mince stew or chicken. I'd get chicken. I used to be able to stand in the kitchen and cook properly from scratch, but I can't stand in the kitchen that long anymore, mate.
Yeah.
It's just part of the condition, bud.
Yeah, no, I understand. It's, I mean, when you get ill and if you don't have a proper support network in place, it can get really fucked up. I've been through that myself.
Yeah. But
I mean, after my last operation, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, bye, you know, and they discharged me without even sort of like, I mean, I got my discharge letter about, I don't know, 2 weeks ago or something. And there's no mention of the complications or the subsequent visits and the blood tests, which they still haven't told me about. It's just, bye. We took an X-ray. We didn't see any stents, so fuck off.
Or any risk assessment, sending you home alone.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, it took. I mean, originally I had gallstone pancreatitis. I had my gallbladder removed, and they didn't get everything, and it blocked my bile duct basically. So I had a semi-blocked bile duct for 6 years, and it took 4 attempts of going to see a consultant, talking about the thing, and then just fucking nothing happening basically. And I went through that process 4 times. And in the middle of it, I actually gave up for 2 years because it was really starting to get me down, you know, and I was in constant pain. But it's like talking to a brick wall, having these kind of posh, middle-class fucking bedside manner wankers in their shiny suits going, oh, yeah, well, let's look forward to the journey and all this fucking buzzword bullshit. And then you never hear jack shit from the cunts again. You know what I mean? Excuse me, I'm getting a bit sweary, but...
Well, that's the thing, Drew.
I lost a decade to health issues basically because of bougie fucking management class doctors who don't give a fuck beyond getting you out the door or filling out another shit for Big Pharma.
I sort of learned how the NHS works through my son. I had a son that was born.
I made a film about it, but didn't make much difference.
I had a son born with 2 fuck kidneys.
Right.
And all they done was they kept him going until I could donate him a kidney. And they only let me donate him a kidney when it was right. If I can use an analogy, it was at the impact of the crash. You know, they held off until it was absolutely necessary. And that's just how the NHS seems to me, is like what you're explaining. They hold off until the fucking accident actually happens.
Yeah, no, I mean, the NHS has become by design completely dysfunctional. You know, they've spent longer actually. I mean, it started in Thatcher's government, but you know, literally, you know, this kind of psychological warfare upon us, you know, this kind of on the outside of the NHS, it's, you know, protect the NHS, love the NHS, right? And on the inside of the NHS, every wall is plastered with posters like, Dr. Simon's going to give up doctoring because of shouty relatives. And the fucking NHS England is paying for these posters and putting it on the fucking wall. It's a divide and rule. It's an othering from within inside the NHS of the public, and we're on the other side of that going, oh, you know, the angels and the doctors, and they can do, you know, do no wrong sort of thing. And I mean, it's nefarious as fuck, because you know, there are lots of people in the NHS who go in there for good reasons and so on, but the actual culture in there is, you know, designed for them to be skull fucked into othering patients and service users. And, you know, I mean, it's the old Chomsky quote, isn't it? Defund it, demonize it, and wait for the public to want to destroy it. You know?
Well, when I was about 18, I took on an MVQ level 2 course in care for adults with severe challenging behaviour. And I was coming right, I was in about
you
2
come
weeks.
look after me now.
You cook them cookies, bud. I'm on the way.
Come deal with my challenging behaviour.
Yeah. But no, I was within 2 weeks of passing the course. And I'd spent an overnight shift at the house. Residents were 6. And I'd had no problem with them at all. The manager walked in the morning and said, I don't like the look of a certain resident, dose him up and sign for it. I said, what?
Liquid cosh.
Yeah. I was 18 at the time, and even then I knew, no, that's not right.
And it's only got worse.
And I said to him, no, I'm not doing that. He said, well, if you don't do it, there's the fucking door. There's plenty more that want your job.
Yeah, no, that's the truth. I mean, mental health care in the UK has become a career in sadism and fucking psychopathy.
Yeah. At which point I walked. I got the fuck out of care, man.
Done the last 3 years.
Say again, bud.
Over a genocide.
Yeah, no, I mean, they are. I mean, look at the amount of Midazolam that we've gone through in the last 3 years. They've literally been wholesale murdering people.
1,000% increase.
I've got a friend, right? I have a friend called Eric Levy, right? And he's kind of a well-known protester. He was a human shield in Iraq and stuff like that, right? And he some arsehole fucking grabbed him and put the fear porn up him and took him for a jab, and a second one just after Christmas it was last year. And within weeks he was in banging trouble, went into hospital, and they were kind of, you know, oh, he's got some blood condition, we're not sure what it is. But his daughter came over and signed off end of life care, right? Unknown to us. And we were going in there, feeding him up, and he was going from a dribbling, dying wreck into back in his chair, going through his diary, wondering when he can get out next to, you know, go campaigning for Julian Assange or whatever. And, you know, because I basically spent a week cooking him fresh food and going in there and feeding him by hand sort of thing. And the sister got wind of it and fucking threw a shit fit, tossed me out, right? And, you know, they used the premise of the mask thing. Yeah, I have CPTSD. I don't like my face being covered. And, you know, I suffer with kind of anxiety and stuff anyway. But so like, I was like, I have an exclusion for wearing a mask, and they had a whole fucking team of security there, a doctor and a nurse, and they're like handling me like, now be reasonable, you know, and all this shit, right? And they tossed me out. And then when I went back to the hospital, I found out that I'd been banned, and they posted a 24-hour guard from the private goon security, right, to guard the fucking ward to stop people going and feeding Eric. And on the hottest day of the year, they made him kneel by mouth, and he died. You know, and he'd gone from being fucked, right, to recovering, being perfectly fine again. When the hospital got wind of it, they lost their shit and guarded him until he was dead. Fucking savages, man. Fucking savages. Yeah. Ward T20, University College Hospital, London. Fucking murderers, mate.
And nobody fucking heard about it.
Oh, no, people did. I mean, the trouble is, right?
Sanction genocide.
The thing with Eric is because he is a bit of a cause celebre, or whatever they want to call it. He's like a little rag doll that gets fought over by various different factions of various things, and unfortunately, fucking an ex-Assange person who basically became a bit unpopular went off and joined up with Piers Corbyn and his lot, and they're outside the hospital, chanting murderers and scrawling graffiti on the hospital, and basically that's what happened at Eric's death. You know, it wasn't that he's kind of this human rights campaigner who, you know, marched with the likes of fucking Malcolm X or whatever, which he did, you know.
Yeah, he was rated out to some sort of fucking anti-vaccine lunatic, you know.
Yeah, no, he was just like smeared with this fucking Piers nuttiness bullshit.
Completely, but he's done some great things, been to many countries and protest all around the world. And
there were a few cunts up there, right, who were literally using it for ego wanks and all of that shit. I mean, from really fucking disgusting people.
Yeah.
And, you know, some of those same people actually tried to smear me that, you know, for some reason I had, you know, contributed to it because I was going in there and feeding the guy. You know what I mean? It all got quite nasty, and it's kind of the thing that kind of like made me get out of filming campaigning stuff for a while. There are some disgusting cunts out there. There really are some, you know.
I wonder who pays their salaries, those disgusting cunts.
It would be interesting and on a queue, mate.
Well, I think that some of these people are, you know, paid agent provocateurs. There's a lot of foreign people who have turned up in the Assange campaign from nowhere.
Do you think they're paid though? Come on, really?
Yeah, I do.
Or are they just useful idiots?
Well, I think in the main they are useful idiots who are led around by people who are there. The idea that there isn't state level interference in the Assange campaign is completely fucking naive.
Well, we say there's, you know, infiltration within government and everything else like that. We're heavily well. What about the freedom movement? Anonymous made that point over and over again, and I've heard him made the same point, but no one's listening to it. About the Greenpeace protesting, you know, in you know, infiltrating and making them pregnant and shit like that. You know, people just don't listen. It's the goldfish mentality of this world we're living in. It's people don't care because they're not going to jelly, is it?
When we're young, we're sort of indoctrinated with this sort of world view, and we cling to that, and we want that. We want the warmth and safety of that we live in an honest world. So people just don't want to see the realities of it, because I think also another thing of that is if you actually, everyone consciously realizes it and takes it on board and goes, yeah, we're being fucked over by a bunch of criminals who'll quite happily throw us in jail if we quibble about it. And it's like, well, what's the obvious conclusion to that? You know, it's either tyranny or you stand up and you fight. But it's like, who's going to throw the first stone? Because you're some right-wing incel basement dwelling terrorist, aren't you?
Yeah.
I mean, they've been putting out that narrative now for a good few years because they knew shit was coming. They knew it was going to, at some point, there's going to be people who believe in things like sovereignty and rule of law, and you know, they're right-wing extremists, aren't they?
Of course we are.
Far right. Far right.
You know, so I mean, it's like when we've got narratives like that in the news, and we're sort of all sitting here going, "Oh God, who's going to be the guy that's going to, you know, lead it? You know, who's going to the break the dam, as it were?" And we're all sitting here like fucking rabbits in headlights.
Yes.
And unfortunately, I think that until the bourgeoisie and the professional management classes are sitting in their garden drinking their pool water and barbecuing the poodle to survive, we're fucked. They're you know, professional management classes.
Until we turn up at their front door,
it's the bourgeoisie that like the status quo. You know, they have their jollies and their slightly sort of 30-40% above what it should be salaries, whilst all their subordinates are fucking living hand to mouth on food bank food, you know.
On that note, I'm going to wind it down because it's 1:45.
God damn.
Fucking hell.
God damn, it's 1:45 in the morning, guys.
God damn.
Wow.
Oh, well, it is Saturday night.
How many people are in here?
119.
All right.
Well, it's saying at 119. 113 now.
All right.
All right then, Chris. Well, I know you've got families to get back to, mate. And oh, he's off.
I'm gasping for a cup of tea. But perhaps that's not such a great idea at 1:45. Keep me up all night. My body clock is completely fucked.
All right, Chris. I'm just going to say, mate, thanks for having me on. It's really appreciated, buddy.
Anytime, mate. Anytime.
You take care. Stay steady and look after the family, buddy.
And you, Gordon, mate.
Take care, Gordon.
Best you can,
Nice to you.
Keep smiling, guys. Bye for now.
Ta-da, mate.
Nice to join you guys. Thanks for having me on.
An honour to you. Always a pleasure, mate. Ta-da, mate. Take care, dude.
All right, bye. Yeah, nice chatting, Chris. And
yeah, thanks.
Catch you on the next one.
Yeah. Goodbye.
All right,
goodbye.
mate.
Bye. Ta-da, mate.
All right, have a good one. Bye.
And you. Bye, bye, bye. He removed himself. So, thanks everyone for joining me. Thanks, Bob, for donating. Thank you very much. You don't need to. Oh. Let's bring that in. So, guys, yeah, thanks for joining me, everybody. Min, Michael, Amy. Let's have a look. Vanished, Sean, Swift. Thank you to moderators. Until the next time. Stay safe out there. So guys, yep, thanks for joining this evening. Until the next time, goodbye.
A special thank you from the heart